When you first begin working on this wildcard essay and you realize that all the world is a possibility, remember that this is not going to be a book report, and it cannot be about something that you have already written about or studied in high school or anything beyond. So if you've already written a paper on To Kill a Mockingbird, you cannot write another paper on To Kill a Mockingbird. So pick a topic that you're interested in. If necessary, ask me to approve it, and then come to this step-by-step guide and decide what kind of essay you'd like to write. Problem solution essays are possible, cause and effect essays, persuasive essays, and discursive essays, where you look at all different sides of a debate about a character, a debate about politics, a debate about anything that you can think of that you'd like to do, making sure that the lead person that is involved in this piece of literature that you're writing about, whether it's nonfiction or fiction, is an adolescent, age 10 to 19. Yes? All right, moving on. Finding a topic. This is a process that you've been through. Here are some links for you to consider as you are getting that topic down. Sometimes I like to start with the type of essay I want to write. Sometimes I do want to write a persuasive essay. Other times I want to write a theory. What are theories about Shakespeare's characters, or what are theories about a modern character, and that kind of thing. So that's why I start with that. But there are all kinds of ways to find topics for your essay. Find something you love, because you're going to love it for a very long time. Now, this is some guidelines for that. Remember that I am completely available to discuss your topics and to discuss ideas you have about how you would like to proceed with that topic. Let me show you an example of an email you would want to write to me. Here is an example, and yes, you're right, it would be my topic, but this is as though this was written by Julie somebody. From your English 168 class, for the wildcard essay, I would like to write a discursive essay about alternative measures for the control of school shootings in Texas. Notice that I've narrowed the focus to one state, since we can't do everything in this essay. I would like the reader to consider a nonviolent approach to this crisis. I would like to investigate the fight fire with fire approaches and how much those measures, see why we proofread? Those measures, such as arming teachers with guns, benefit the gun lobbyists. Y'all, I'm interested to see how much money the gun lobby makes off of school shootings. And I hate to even think of it that way, but it's a reality. I would also like to investigate nonviolent measures, such as the return of the arts to the curriculum, after-school positive programs, maybe using the computer lab for after-school video gaming club, where students come together to play games, would benefit teenagers who feel isolated and driven to the dark side of the internet. I've just started on this idea and wonder if you would approve the essay. So that's an example of the kind of email you would write me to approve your topic. Let me show you an email that you would not want to send to me. Dear Professor Hall, I can't think of anything to write about. Y'all, I don't see that as a possibility for this class. And I tell you why. If you have made it to this point in this class, you are brilliant. You know you are. And maybe you feel a little overwhelmed. Maybe you feel like, oh my gosh, this thing is going so fast, and now I have to come up with a topic. Just give me something to write about. If I gave you something to write about, you wouldn't enjoy it. And halfway through the project, you would be just skipping to the end and not giving this the full attention that it requires. You have the cyber cafe. You have the open forum. You have all of the students that are available to you in the class to ask what they're doing, suggestions, ideas. And I have ideas included in this module. So find something that interests you, and let's go forward with that. If you're sure you have a topic, and you're sure that it's going to be an approved topic, then you don't need to email me. But if you do, go ahead and email me. I would, but that's me. Step 3, writing the outline. I hope that you've made friends with the outline by now, but in case you haven't, this is going to be your template no matter what topic you're writing about. And I'll give you a little fabulous piece of news. This will be the template you will follow for almost every essay you ever write in your life. So save this template for your university education as you move forward. All right, so first you're going to have an introduction. That introduction needs to go sentence by sentence by these directions. The second section of your essay, and that section may be more than one paragraph, that section tells the reader about the topic. Now, there are some outlines out there that don't include this, but I say folly, because the reader doesn't know anything about your topic. If you write an essay about Jules Verne, you can't assume that I know who Jules Verne is. If you write an essay about school shootings, then you can understand that, yes, I've heard of school shootings, but I don't know the details. So this paragraph contains information for the reader. If I'm writing about a novel or a piece of a play, a screenplay, this is the area where I describe that piece of literature to my reader. Otherwise, the reader doesn't know what your topic is about. Again, this may be more than one paragraph, but the more complicated the topic, obviously the more information you need to give the reader. And just approach this as if you are the reader and you don't really know anything about this topic, but you're interested and willing to learn. Then you start with the points of your essay that you are writing about. If I am writing about methods of controlling school shootings in Texas, then perhaps the first point is one of the recommended suggestions by law. Not just suggestions that somebody makes on the street, but legal suggestions. The next is point number 2. And that's your second point, whatever it is that you want to say. Perhaps I'm looking at a different measure that is suggested or up for a legislative vote on how to control that problem. Well, crisis. Number 3, now we come to your opinion. Based on your research, based on facts, this area of the essay, no matter what essay it is going to reflect your ideas. And what you need to do in this paragraph, or more than one paragraph if it gets to be too long, not only is this your opinion, but you have the opinion of professionals who support your opinion. I hope that makes sense to you. But if I say the return of arts programs is one way of possibly curtailing or having an effect on this problem, and I want the reader to consider that possibility, I'm also going to need to have some professionals who agree with me. I can call the principal of the high school in my area, or any high school in Texas, and ask them what they think of that. What do they think about that? Well, here's what they're going to say. Budget money, budget money, budget money. Well, how much money is the gun lobby making off of giving guns to teachers? How much does that cost the school? And couldn't that money be just as easily used on creating arts programs or other curriculum additions that might help? All right, then you write a transition to your conclusion. Now, if you, as so many have done before you, if you turn in an outline to me and all you write is conclusion, you're going to get points off across the board, because I can almost promise you that your conclusion is not going to be a well-written conclusion. I can almost promise it. I've seen it 1,000 times. If you take the time to plan out your conclusion and end with a profound statement, then you will fulfill that conclusion requirement. Conclusions are difficult for everybody. I'm making that blanket statement because I don't know anybody in my world who has ever said, "Oh, conclusion is easy, snappy, done." It's hard. It's hard to write a conclusion. That's why during the research phase of my essay writing, I find some piece of information that I'm not going to use in the body of my essay, and maybe I can add that to my conclusion. I'm going to also remind the reader where I got my information from, because I don't know anything except my life, my circumstances, and a little bit about the people around me. But I don't know why anybody does anything. I don't know what the facts are until I've researched it. So the conclusion is a nice place to end with a couple of sentences about the sources that I used for my analysis. If I interviewed President Hunter from over at West Texas High School, and we had a conversation about alternatives to the gun violence situation in schools, I need to mention that in the conclusion, because that's a profound piece of evidence that I presented in this essay. If I talk to a legislator about the arts and what they think about this, that's a huge piece of evidence, because that is a professional person who knows. Now, you come down and let's say that you're writing about Hamlet, Shakespeare's Hamlet, and you interview the professor of Shakespeare at the University of Wada. Well, that professor and the conversation you had with that professor is fantastic. What a great piece of evidence. Then the next sentence refers to the first two opinions that you expressed, or the first two ideas, or the first two concepts, or whatever else. And then the next sentence restates your opinion and resolve. I don't care if you're trying to show that Abel Magwitch was actually the antagonist, even though he pretends to be a key figure in the story and the catalyst, because Great Expectations gets going when the mysterious benefactor gives Pip a bunch of money. And what if he hadn't given him all that money? Pip might have grown up to have a very nice, normal life. Maybe. But I could make a point for that. And whatever I do, I have my opinion that's expressed, whether it's fiction or nonfiction. And then you're going to end with a snappy sentence that uses only first or third person. You're never going to write something like "we all need to," which I know is difficult when you're writing a persuasive essay, because you wanted to persuade somebody to save the Bengal tigers. And so if I'm writing a persuasive essay, don't I want to end the essay with a statement that we all need to take care of our planet, we all need to care about Bengal tigers, we all need to donate to this particular fund that I have found that is so important? No, we don't. When you've read articles, when you've studied things about your topic, you've seen people say, we come into this, we know that, we have, and they can because they're publishing an article. You are writing a discursive essay. And when you write a discursive essay, everything must be in first person or third person. So in a persuasive essay, I would say, in this end sentence, that I am inspired to, whatever it is that I'm inspired to do. Dig deeper into the analysis of Shakespeare and all of his plays. I'm interested in talking to my congressmen about ways to bring activities back to the schools. I'm writing whatever it is, but it's in first person or third person objective, which is simply facts. Never ever do we write you should, we all should, because that turns your reader off immediately. Don't tell me what I should do. Don't you know how that feels when somebody tells you, here's what you should do, and you go, you're not my mother. You can't tell me what to do. That's how a reader feels when they're reading an essay. Same kind of thing. But your job, if you've written a persuasive essay, has already inspired your reader all the way through. And if the last sentence of your essay encourages the reader by saying what you personally are going to do, then your hope is that that influences the reader to see things your way, to join with you in a cause if you're interested in that, or who is also interested in what you have written about that piece of literature and wants to join with you in considering all kinds of literary topics. Yes? And then I like to end with a quote from somebody. Not everybody does, but I do. I think it gives a nice end cap on an essay to quote from somebody particular. Now, remember that if all you do is copy and paste this into your document and give it to me, you will receive a 0 for the outline in the rubric. Your content grade will be affected because it will not show the kind of organization that an outline does show. So take time, do this, and enjoy the process. And then step 4 is actually writing the essay. Remember, your word count will be the combination of your rough draft, your outline, your works cited, and your final essay. All of those words are added together to create your total. You might want to swing back up to the first module where I show you about word count to make sure that you are given credit for every word you wrote on this essay. Yes, you want that credit because we've got 8,000 words to write. So then your title page will be the title and an image that is not a logo. You can refer back to that qualitative analysis page if you need to. And this is going to be somewhere between 5 and 7 paragraphs. Maybe it'll be more. If it's more paragraphs, that's just fine. You don't want a paragraph that is longer than 8 or 9 sentences. Then you've got a long run-on paragraph, and that affects your grammar and affects your content grade. So your total is probably going to be more than this. But when you combine the outline, the works cited, the rough draft, and the essay, those are your total points. But again, most essays come out to be far more words than that. So whatever you have. Remember that you use 5 to 8 quoted examples to copy your ideas. And we've talked about that, so I won't repeat that. The essay requires a title image, and the essay should contain 5 to 8 additional images throughout the essay itself. I like 1 per paragraph, but you do whatever you think. If you include a graph, again, that's in that qualitative analysis page. That's a great page for you to study again. Be sure and proofread for grammatical content. Include a works cited page in MLA format using EasyBib. Make use of free library sources available to you. Librarians are fantastic at this school. They want you to call. They know about this assignment. They know what I'm doing. So when you call them and tell them what you're working on, they will help you. Your submission is going to be 1 long PDF document. I am grading 1 long document. The document is created in this order: the title page, the essay, the works cited, and a complete detailed outline. And I'm giving you an example of something that I see frequently. People fill out most of the outline, then they get to the end and they just put down a conclusion and then submit it. And then they're so disappointed when the grade comes back and there's point deductions for content and outlining, and it's just so frustrating. So make sure that you do a completed outline. So that about wraps it up for the wildcard instructions. I know this was a 20-minute lecture, but I want to make sure that you have all the information available to you. And again, remember, you can contact me by email anytime you want about your topic for this essay, and I will be very happy to reply to you. If you send me an email and you don't get an answer within maybe 10 hours, please remember, assume I did not receive it and resend it again. I answer every email. So Just to let you know that. And that concludes this tutorial, this 20-minute tutorial on how to write the wildcard essay.